So I want to welcome everyone to today's webinar. It's the new website era, which requires partners. I'm going to jump straight in because I want to respect your time. And this conversation is specifically for advisors, partners, consultants, agencies, referral partners, people who consult, design, or build websites or recommend websites for companies. Quick context, just so you know where this is coming from. We've been helping small and medium businesses grow for over 15 years. Hundreds of projects, thousands of conversations across industries, budgets, and levels of maturity. So, what I'm sharing today isn't just based on theory, it's pattern recognition from watching what actually works and what doesn't. The only reason marketers, builders, advisors like us exist is simple. Businesses want to reach people who are looking for what they sell and they need help doing it. That's it. How we got here. 1,000 years ago, this wasn't easy. Commerce was local by necessity. People lived, worked, and traded within a small radius. Travel was slow and risky. Information moved by word of mouth and reputation. You bought from who was there. You worked with who was known. You tolerated good enough because alternatives weren't realistic. Visibility, trust, and commerce were naturally coupled. There was no concept of marketing, brand awareness, or customer acquisition. Those were solved by proximity and reputation. That world is gone. Today, being known, trusted, and chosen is no longer easy. It's fragmented. Businesses can exist without being seen, be seen without being trusted, be trusted without being chosen, and be chosen without ever being remembered. That decoupling is the core problem modern websites and businesses are supposed to solve, and most don't. As the world evolved, businesses had to actively work to be known. So at first, they put their name where people could see them, right? On barns, storefronts, matchbooks. Then the printing press brought flyers and directories, mail brought catalogs and ads, radio and TV brought scaled awareness. And then the internet collapsed distance entirely. Websites replaced storefronts, search replaced directories, smartphones made discovery instant. Each shock stacked on top of the last, increasing reach, competition, and complexity. And a lot of you were here like in 2010, 2011, when digital marketing really exploded. So you guys are witnesses to this explosion. What used to be solved by proximity today has to be solved by systems. And as the complexity grew, businesses began relying on third parties to help them navigate it. So specialists replaced generalists. Execution spread across tools and vendors, and business owners slowly lost visibility in what is actually working. I mean, today's ecosystem for a small business is so complex and so difficult to navigate that it literally takes a specialist to help. So, yet, most people in our business still treat websites as deliverables. Design it, build it, launch it, check the box. A website now, but that's not how this works. I mean, you can't just crank something out and ship it because websites are they sit on the intersection of how people discover a business, how they evaluate it, how they compare it, and how they decide. And so a website is really a web application that has to be able to communicate across different channels. Has to help people, when people come to websites, and think of yourselves as examples of this. Literally, all of us already now today know how to source, how to search, how to do research, how to check things. We've already made our decision by the time we hit a website, usually. And all we need that website to do is help us make that decision. But customers, when you approach a customer and they say, we need a website, we need it now. Usually that means they need a website or something because everybody else has one, not realizing that a website is no longer a brochure anymore. I mean, a website only works when it aligns with those three things: how people are finding the business, what they believe before they arrive, and what action the business actually needs them to take. So websites aren't about pages anymore, they're about decisions. And I understand the position that this puts you in because clients rarely articulate what they actually need. I mean, they lead with fear, cost, time, because underneath both is a trust issue. So they just say, I need a website fast. And if you take that request at face value, you deliver exactly what they asked for and still miss what they need. Site launches, everybody relieved. 6 months later, nothing's changed. Same traffic quality, same lead problems, same confusion, and the website quietly gets blamed. Agencies adapt by chasing quick wins, right? So you start creating flashy visuals, parallax effects, sites that make you say, wow, the first time they load. But if you actually read those sites, not watch them, the gap shows fast. And the reason is simple. You cannot build a great website cheaply or quickly. The reason is websites are web applications. A site that actually works requires structure, branding, development, content, funnels, credibility, SEO, and ongoing strategy. And that takes time. I've seen customers who paid a designer $2,500, even their nephews $500 for a site. I've had customers that come to us with Wix sites that they built themselves. Yet they come to us and they pay $25,000 for us to fix the problem that 2,500 didn't fix. And most of these customers are still with us years later. A properly built 25-page website done well is 6 weeks minimum. If you think about 240 hours of time, and if you had to give 240 hours of your time, a month and a half of your time, what would you charge for that? I mean, so, it's about bringing expectations and reality together. Now, not telling them, well, the links work and the pages load. I mean, you literally want the client to come back and say, this was our best month in years. And I heard somebody tell us that just last week. Literally, we've had the best 2 months that we've had since 2000. I mean, that right there is the metric that works. And those guys spend 35K and they spend approximately $2,000 a month in reoccurring. And the last meeting that I had, when he said, these are the best 2 months that we've had, what else can we do? Where else can we put money in to keep the ball rolling? Of course, when you add e-com into the mix, holy crap, complexity multiplies. I mean, anyone can spin up a Shopify site. We built over 100 Shopify sites. But now you're dealing with product positioning, buy box content, trust signals, pricing psychology, fulfillment expectations, and other channels too, like Amazon, eBay, and various marketplaces. The website becomes one node in a much larger system. So now layer in what's happening next. Hello, AI. I mean, the next shift, AI is already changing how people discover, evaluate, and decide. Websites no longer just talking to humans, they're talking to machines that influence humans. So here's the real question: do you want to keep building quote unquote websites, or do you really truly want to help clients build something that actually works in the world their business now lives in? I mean, that's the big differentiator, is moving away from selling products or tools into a world where you're actually understanding your client's business and you're making recommendations that last. Because if your value stops at layout, sections, and launch, AI is going to replace you. In fact, it already is. But here's the point, and this is really important. AI doesn't understand your client's business, their pressure, what actually needs to change for growth to happen, this is where you come in. I mean, look, I get it. The heyday, I literally was one of these guys with my distributorship that when a client was looking for something, I was able to fill that order immediately, quickly, on time, perfectly. And that was a quick win, and I moved on to the next deal. And that still exists, right? That's still a function that my a lot of my partners are still filling, but it's changing. In other words, they're not looking at it as providing or fulfilling a commodity. They're looking at the service of the value that they're actually bringing to the table, which is time management, efficiency, logistics. That's why customers come to them, not because they sell a million products, but because they understand their business and know exactly what to recommend that won't waste their time and that they can rely on. So, the point, AI doesn't understand their business, you can. And that truly is the shift. That if you can shift your knowledge base and the way you operate into truly understanding how your customer's business works, then you're going to become invaluable to your customers. And that's why Gotcha leaned into this very early. When I first launched Gotcha, I mean, there were lots of digital marketing products, tools, and solutions that we could easily wrap ourselves around and sell, productize, and sell. But what I saw very quickly was that they sat on top of a layer of truth, and underneath that layer, they weren't really doing the jobs that they needed to do. And so like I said, we leaned heavily into this and we really became students of what's going on, what works, what doesn't work. And we learned early on that analysis and diagnostics was at the core of everything that we do. You wouldn't just go to a doctor and just not even meet them, just walk up to the counter and have them like shout from the back room what you need and then walk away. I mean, you'd be examined, you'd be diagnosed. And I've used that analogy many, many years ago, and it still holds true today. And this is kind of what I'm saying is that the analysis and diagnostics, if you can kind of teach yourself to learn how to do that, or we're building a new product that's actually going to help you do that, you're actually going to become irreplaceable in a technologically driven world. So we've spent the time watching the patterns. We saw websites becoming connection points into larger systems, search, content, reviews, ads, marketplaces, analytics, and now AI driven discovery. So we built our process, which connects websites into systems that grow business. These aren't one-off projects and they're not disposable builds. So we're not trying to replace our affiliates and our partners. We're 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 building actually for an opposite future. A future where our processes and AI handles a lot of the mechanical work and strategy and judgment and context becomes what matters. And our partners create real value and build defensible relationships that sustain everybody involved. So we're not abandoning our partner model, we're leaning heavily into it because we believe that's how you can get the word out, right? That's how you can cover, kind of go back to the first things that I was talking about. Um, how people found what they were looking for in small towns was known, and now today you're coast to coast. I don't know, one of my partners, if I asked them, what area do you service? They're all going to say we're nationwide, primarily because proximity and the fact that they can lean into the internet and shipping and logistics, and they can, heck, a lot of my partners are manufacturing overseas and shipping air freight to customers here in the States. So they are truly nationwide. And we're kind of leaning into that network and working together. The goal is to build a wall and build it together. So here's the good news. Website conversations are actually getting easier. Websites aren't going anywhere, even in the AI age. SMBs already know something isn't working in their business and they don't need to be convinced their website matters anymore. They get it. I mean, we have conversations every day with companies and small businesses that understand that. They feel that their website misses leads, stalled growth, and there's confusion about what to fix. So, what they don't have is clarity. They don't know who to trust. They don't know what actually matters versus what sounds good. And if you're advising SMBs, you already have clients who need this. So you don't need to go find demand that's already sitting in your inbox. A few specific clients popped in your head possibly during this session. That's not an accident. So I want to be very clear about something important. You do not need to formally join our affiliate program to start. You do not need onboarding certification or setup. If you already have a client or people that you're talking to and they're in business, chances are they need a better website. We can help you close that deal right now together. And the website is like I just showed you, it's the doorway to everything. I mean, if a business is going to survive in the future, the website, even more so today than ever before, is literally their business online. And it's the opportunity for them to kind of really dig in and leverage that site through the AI chatbots. And we've got tools and products and systems to do that. I mean, we're not asleep at the wheel by any chance. So, you stay involved, we help with clarity, structure, and execution, and you still earn on every website that you sell. So this is how immediate revenue happens, not after training or paperwork, but right now. So here's the only next step. If this aligned, either book a conversation with us or reply to the follow-up email with client introduction. That's it. No pressure, no obligation. We're not here to steal your customers. I mean, we got plenty of our own coming through the door. We're here to help you kind of join us in this effort. And this only works if we're aligned. And if we are, it compounds for everybody involved. And that's the presentation for today. Um, are there any questions? Maybe? Reese, I guess we're okay.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. Thank you.